Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and NBA fans around the world. Welcome to a very special edition of NBA Week in Review. The 2021-2022 NBA season has been very memorable, to say the least. From record-breaking performances to the chaos that is the Los Angeles Lakers, this season has had its fair share of ups and downs. This is the NBA Mid-Season Review, and I'm your host, Joseph Frescott. As players rest and celebrate the midway point of the season at the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse in Cleveland, Ohio for All-Star Weekend, I'll take you through some of the best and worst moments of the NBA season thus far. Wait, you're telling me that the NBA has teams in LA, Miami, Chicago, and New York, and they chose to have it in Cleveland?
Cleveland is a beautiful city.
Oh yeah, totally. All right, enough about All-Star Weekend. This show is about what happened during the NBA season. So with that being said, let's get into our first segment, the hype in the headlines. There's been an abundance of headlines from the NBA so far this season, but there's one that's truly stood out from the rest, at least in my opinion, and that is Kyrie Irving versus the COVID-19 vaccine mandates. Like the vast majority of leagues across professional sports, the NBA established COVID protocols and mandates for players, coaches, and other staff. While the NBA has not mandated vaccinations, they leave it up to each state's COVID policies to dictate who can play and attend basketball games. As you might expect, in New York, the COVID policies are strict, as vaccinations are mandatory for all players, coaches, staff, and fans. While this hasn't been an issue for anyone on either New York team, who else but Kyrie Irving would be the exception? The seven-time All-Star has had one of the most drama-filled careers in the history of the NBA, and that has continued in his tenure with the Nets so far. On October 14th, he confirmed that he has not and will not get vaccinated on Instagram Live. Let's hear what he had to say.
And, you're going to lose out on money, and you're going to lose out on this. Like, so what? It's not about the money, baby. It's not always about the money. It's about choosing what's best for you. You think I really want to lose money? You think I really want to give up on my dream to go after a championship? You think I really just want to give up my job? You think I really just want to sit at home and not go after the things with my teammates that I've been able to grow with, to learn that it takes sacrifice in this space? Because we could be easily at home chilling with our families, but we're choosing to go out there and perform. You know, and even in that job, like that's a dream come true. I've been working on that since I was in 4th grade. You think I want to give up my livelihood because of a mandate, because I don't have accommodations, because I'm unvaccinated? Come on. I'm not going to be used as a person in this agenda. You know, like I'm not even going to speak on that. I'm just saying, like, it should not be divided amongst all of us. It should just be understood and respected.
Those were spiritual words, Kyrie. Due to New York's policies, Kyrie has not been allowed to play in any home games, but he has been allowed by law to practice and play in road games, essentially making him a part-time player. While Nets GM Sean Marks dismissed the idea of Kyrie playing part-time to start the season, he had a change of heart in the new year, as Kyrie was allowed to come back on January 5th against the Indiana Pacers. In the 14 games that he has played so far, he is averaging 24 points per game, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists. Clearly, the man is a generational talent when on the floor, but the issue isn't how he's playing, it's when. Speaking of dysfunction between players and organizations, Ben Simmons and the Philadelphia 76ers haven't been on the same page this entire season, and quite frankly, it's been a lot longer than that. Although we could go on for days about the drama between both sides that began after the 76ers lost in the playoffs last season, let's summarize it briefly. The 2019 Rookie of the Year expressed his frustration and intention to leave Philadelphia this past summer after he felt scapegoated for their Eastern Conference semifinals loss to Atlanta Hawks last season. President of Basketball Operations, Daryl Morey, refused to trade the 2022 All-NBA third-team selection, which led to Simmons holding out and refusing to play so far this season. While there's been a slew of other problems, such as the 76ers not paying Ben, him going on to cite mental health problems, and just a bunch of other nonsense that got way too much media coverage than necessary, the whole situation was a complete mess and finally got resolved just hours before the trade deadline. But that is going to have to wait till later in the show. All right, let's pivot away from all the drama, and let's talk about something good that has come from the season so far, the return of the Splash Brothers. Let's start with the first half of the Brotherhood, as Steph Curry has played well for the most part of the season and has led the Warriors to one of the top seeds in the Western Conference thus far. The two-time league MVP has made headlines this season when he broke Ray Allen's record for the most three-pointers made of all time, when he played against none other than my New York Knicks, where he made his 2,974 three-pointer with 7 minutes and 33 seconds left in the first quarter on December 14th. This record-breaking shot came in only Steph's 789th career game, which is 500 less than Ray Allen's 1,300 career games played. While Steph's record-breaking night was historic, as one Twitter user pointed out, his performance as of late hasn't been up to the Chef's standards. In this hilarious tweet, @PointGuardian pointed out that Steph's shooting numbers looks more like tour dates. And I'm not going to lie, that's probably the best meme from the season so far. Thankfully for Steph, the other half of the Splash Bros made his return, as Klay Thompson returned for the first time since his ACL tear in the 2019 NBA Finals on January 9th. Not many players have had worse luck than Klay over these last few years, as after fully recovering from a torn ACL in his left knee back in June of 2019, the five-time All-Star tore his right Achilles during a workout in November of 2020. Thompson finally made his return from both injuries this season, and in his month and a half back from action, he's averaging 17 points per game, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists. Not bad coming from a guy who had potentially career-ending injuries in both of his legs. All right, that wraps up the headlines from the NBA season so far. Let's take a look at the NBA standings midway through the season. If you haven't watched any NBA basketball this season, I'm going to be honest, these standings are going to surprise you. They honestly still surprise me looking at them right now. Without further ado, let's start with the Eastern Conference. As you can see, the Eastern Conference has been very tight, with only 4 games separating the 1st seed from the 6th seed. Tied at the top right now is the Miami Heat and the Chicago Bulls. Miami has played very well this season thanks to the outstanding play of Jimmy Butler and Tyler Herro, who are each averaging 20-plus points per game for them. The Bulls have been proving all of the doubters wrong so far this season, as DeMar DeRozan has been playing at an MVP caliber level, averaging 28 points per game, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists. As we move down the ladder here, the 76ers, Cavaliers, and Bucks and Celtics are all close together in the Eastern Conference. Cleveland has been one of the more surprising teams this season, as their young core has really gelled together with the likes of Darius Garland, Jarrett Allen, and Evan Mobley leading the way for them. Philadelphia, Milwaukee, and Boston should all be looking to move up in the standings as the season progresses, as these teams made move at the deadlines to improve their rosters. Now for the teams in the play-in tournament. As of now, the Raptors, Nets, Hornets, and Hawks would be competing for the last 2 spots in the Eastern Conference. Toronto has played well so far this season, relying on their young stars to get the job done. On the flip side, Brooklyn and Atlanta have both underperformed this season, although they have dealt with the injury bug so far, to be fair. Now looking at the bottom of the Eastern Conference, the Wizards sit just a game back from the play-in tournament, while the Knicks, Pacers, Pistons, and Magic have little to no hope for their season. Throwback to when the Knicks were looking like title contenders last season, those were better days. Now looking at the Western Conference, the Suns did not let their finals loss last season discourage them, as they've carried their momentum into the season so far and have a firm grasp on the 1 seed as of now. The Phoenix offense has been prolific this season, as they lead the league in most offensive statistics, such as points scored and field goal percentage. The 2nd and 3rd seeds in the West are 2 teams that have surprised a lot of people this season. The Golden State Warriors are back to playing like their 2015 selves, thanks to the likes of their big 3 in Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green, all coming back to health. The Grizzlies, on the other hand, have relied heavily on the play of their 3rd-year guard, Ja Morant, who has emerged as a superstar this season, averaging 27 points per game, 6 rebounds, 7 assists, along with a steal per game as well. While the 2020 NBA Rookie of the Year is having a career year so far, he has had plenty of help thanks to the likes of young talent such as Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Dillon Brooks. As we move towards the middle of the pack now, you're going to see some familiar teams that most people would expect, as the Jazz, Mavericks, and Nuggets all sit in the 4, 5, and 6 seeds respectively in the West. All 3 of these franchises have been carried by their franchise superstars, as Donovan Mitchell, Luka Doncic, and Nikola Jokic are all playing at an MVP level thus far. Now for the teams in the play-in tournament, the Timberwolves, Clippers, Lakers, and Trailblazers are all vying for a spot in the playoffs. While Minnesota and Portland have significantly overachieved this year considering their current rosters, both Los Angeles franchises are in terrible shape midway through the season. With the Clippers having the excuse that they've been hit hard with injuries all season, the Lakers have just been flat-out terrible, as the moves they made this season to acquire the likes of Russell Westbrook, Malik Monk, and Carmelo Anthony have not panned out whatsoever. With both teams making minimal moves at the deadline, Los Angeles fans are in for another disappointing season, barring an insane turnaround in the last few months. Last but not actually definitely least, the bottom of the Western Conference consists of the Spurs, Pelicans, Kings, Thunder, and Rockets. All of these teams are in various stages of the rebuilding process, with San Antonio, New Orleans, and Sacramento all having a shot to make the play-in, while Oklahoma City and Houston are likely looking to the future at this point. All right, that is going to do it for the NBA standings midway through the season. let's recap the chaos that ensued at the NBA trade deadline. The trade deadline is always a fun and chaotic time in the NBA, with various players unhappy with their current situations and teams looking to make moves to push them into title contention. Early February is a great time to be a fan, unless of course you're a New York Knicks fan like myself, when it just sucks, quite frankly. Now, there were 20 moves made at the deadline, but let's be honest, no one cares that the Wizards trade away Aaron Holiday to the Suns for cash considerations. So, let's get into the 5 biggest deals from the deadline. The deadline heated up when the Trailblazers agreed to a deal with the Pelicans on February 7th. This trade sent Portland's C.J. McCollum, Larry Nance Jr., and Tony Snell to the Pelicans in exchange for Josh Hart, Nikolai Alexander-Walker, Thomas Satoransky, Didi Luzuda, a 2020 first-round pick, a 2026 second-round pick, and a 2027 second-round pick. This trade gives Portland draft capital and some youth as they look to rebuild, while the Pelicans capitalize on the Trailblazers' desire to blow up their roster and grab a star in C.J. McCollum. The Indiana Pacers also stayed busy during the deadline, as they made multiple moves, including this blockbuster on February 8th. This trade, which shocked many fans around the league, saw the Pacers give up Domantas Sabonis, Justin Holiday, Jeremy Lamb, and a 2023 second-round pick to the Kings in exchange for Tyrese Halliburton, Buddy Hield, and Tristan Thompson. This deal pushes the Kings into contention for the play-in tournament and gives the Pacers an amazing young guard to build around in the 21-year-old Tyrese Halliburton, as many fans believe he has the potential to be one of the premier guards in the league for years to come. The trades continued to heat up on deadline day as the Bucks, Clippers, Kings, and Pistons kicked off the final day of trading with a 4-team trade. In this deal, Milwaukee received Serge Ibaka and 2 second-round picks. Los Angeles received Rodney Hood, Semi Ojeleye, and Vaja Marjanovic. Sacramento received Dante DiVincenzo, Josh Jackson, Trey Lyles, David Michanu, and a second-round pick. And last but certainly not least, Detroit received Marvin Bagley III. To summarize what this trade means for each team, the Bucks got depth at the big man for cheap. The Clippers saved cap space while also acquiring more depth. The Kings continued to build their roster to win now for whatever reason. And the Pistons got the 2018 second overall pick of the draft for next to nothing. So a good deal for all sides. The Mavericks and Wizards decided to get in on the February 10th action as well when they agreed to a deal. In this trade, Dallas moved on from Kristaps Porzingis and a future second-round pick and acquired Spencer Dinwiddie and Davis Bertans. To be quite honest, this trade doesn't make any sense for the Mavs, as they seem content putting together the worst rosters possible around superstar Luka Doncic. This time, Dallas lost their starting center in Kristaps Porzingis in exchange for a starting caliber guard that will likely back up Luka and another backup center. So this goes out to Mavs owner Mark Cuban. What are you doing? Actually, he's probably filming another season of Shark Tank. I love that show, so, keep doing you, Mark. The last deal of the deadline came just hours before the 3 p.m. cutoff and was by far the biggest of them all. In this blockbuster trade, the 76ers acquired James Harden and Paul Millsap from the Nets in exchange for Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, a 2022 and 2027 first-round picks. This trade, which had fans buzzing about the potential for both sides, was one of the most fair deals involving superstar players in recent memory. For Brooklyn, it is clear that they needed some type of change, and this might just be the ideal scenario for them. Getting Simmons to be their primary defender and ball handler when Kyrie can't play, as well as Seth Curry's scoring ability and Drummond's interior presence off the bench makes this roster much more well-balanced and better suited for a playoff run. For Philadelphia, they get their much-needed second star in James Harden, while not giving up too much considering Simmons wasn't going to play for them regardless. Overall, a solid deal for both sides, and like most fans around the league, I can't wait to see how this pans out. All right, that is going to do it for the trade deadline. Now on to my least favorite segment of the show, the injury report. Welcome to the injury report. Dr. Fresca is going to take you through the most notable injuries from the season so far. Since we left off with the Nets, it's only fitting that we start the injury report off with them. Brooklyn has struggled with the injury bug all season, with the worst of it coming when superstar Kevin Durant sprained his MCL on January 16th. KD doesn't have a timetable to return just yet, but he's looking to return soon after All-Star Weekend. The Nets have also been without sharpshooter Joe Harris, who suffered a significant ankle sprain on November 14th. Harris may still be out for an extended period of time as he may require a second procedure on his left ankle. Despite their success this season, the Bulls, Cavaliers, and Suns have all dealt with some injuries as well. Chicago guards Alex Caruso and Lonzo Ball went down with a fractured wrist and a small meniscus tear in their knee on back-to-back nights in January. Both players are expected to return around mid-March. As for Cleveland, they will not be getting back their young guard Colin Sexton back this season as he tore his meniscus on November 7th. For the West leading Suns, they will be without Chris Paul until late April as he deals with an avulsion fracture of his right thumb. The Nuggets and Warriors have played without two of their starters for much of this season. In Denver, young stars Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. are still both recovering from knee injuries and back surgeries and are expected to return come playoff time. In Golden State, the second-year center James Wiseman is still recovering from a torn meniscus he suffered on April 15th of 2021. And veteran Draymond Green remains out with issues relating to a disc in his lower back. Both are expected to be back by late March. Moving on to Los Angeles, the Clippers have been without their superstar duo Kawhi Leonard and Paul George for most of the season. Leonard will be sidelined for the rest of this year as he recovers from ACL surgery from this past July. George, on the other hand, should be back by mid-March after experiencing elbow pain around Christmas. As for the other half of Los Angeles, the Lakers are expected to be without Anthony Davis until at least April as he recovers from a mid-foot sprain. Staying in the West, the 2021 first overall pick, Zion Williamson, has yet to play this season after injuring his right foot this past summer. The highly talented Duke alumni has dealt with injuries for his whole professional career so far, and it doesn't seem like the Pelicans will be getting him back anytime soon as he may require a second surgery. Not to say I'm an expert, Zion, but take it from me. You'll be a lot better off if you put down the Mountain Dew and Doritos for just once. Is that too harsh? Oh well. Finishing off with two superstars that likely won't return this season, Portland's Damian Lillard and Washington's Bradley Beal both won't be coming back anytime soon. Lillard underwent surgery to repair a core injury on January 13th and is reportedly in no rush to resume playing anytime soon. That's a smart move, Dame. Beal suffered a left wrist injury on January 29th and will be out for the remainder of the season as well. Unfortunate news for two of the league's best. Thankfully, that's all I got for the injury report. Now it's time for our last segment of the show, Top 10 Plays. We saved the best for last here on the NBA midseason review as we have the top 10 plays from the 2021-2022 NBA season so far. So let's get right into it. At number 10, Lakers' Russell Westbrook is looking for Anthony Davis and, he hits him on the head. Okay, that's weird. For number 9, Russell Westbrook is in the corner for 3 and hits absolutely nothing. Wait, pause. We're playing Russell Westbrook fails. It's supposed to be the top 10 plays.
Can't find the plays.
You know what? It's all right. That's just as good, so let's keep playing it.
When a team needs a player desperately, we all know where they go. They call up Westbrook's agency and sign him for a lot of dough. They get ready, hey, get excited for him, cause he was an MVP. Then he starts chucking a bunch of bricks and taking too many threes, yeah. Another team sucks with Russ. Another team sucks with Russ. When he comes to your town, your wins go down. Another team sucks with Russ.
Oh, man, that was amazing. I could watch that all day. Oh, wait, are we back? All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for the NBA midseason review. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it for you guys. A special thanks to the entire team here at PTV, as well as Professor Jean Carla Musto for letting us use her studio. From everyone here at the NBA midseason review, I am Joseph Frescott. Catch us next week as we resume our regularly scheduled program in the NBA Week in Review. I'll catch you all there. Peace.